Historic train rides, museums, a quaint little downtown area, and much more on this episode of Rural Road Tripper as we tour Chehalis, Washington. I had a great night's stay at the Best Western here, complete with a fantastic hot breakfast. The night before, I had dinner at the Ocean Prime Family Restaurant, which was within walking distance of my hotel. I had the chicken parmesan. While both the hotel and the restaurant were more expensive than I thought they were worth, they were both high quality, clean, and I would recommend them if you're looking for a place to stay or eat. Chehalis is a stunningly beautiful little town that began as a commercial center for nearby farms and logging operations. The town had a slow start, in part due to how difficult it was to access the area, and in part because there were few people that wanted to settle in this area. Eventually, more people came and built farms here, including William West, who would be a major player in building and developing the services for this town. The Northern Pacific Railroad began service here, originally only stopping for a raised red flag. However, after a while of daily stopping, they finally added Chehalis to their regular schedule and built a depot in 1873, which turned the settlement here into a proper town. Although there was still little here in the way of commerce or industry beyond farming, Chehalis became the county seat in 1874. It remains the county seat still today, with the courthouse complex, both the old one and the new one, taking up a large part of the downtown area. By the 1880s, the city had been incorporated. Multiple agricultural products were being shipped out, some to international buyers. And tin shops, sawmills, shingle factories, and more were all moving into town, along with more refined operations such as the Tynan Opera House, a Catholic school for girls, the courthouse, churches, and a public school. However, in 1892, two fires brought devastation to the downtown area. After that, future development and the new town center moved to the Market Street area. Economic depression, along with a general decline in the logging business, brought growth in the area to a much slower pace. At the turn of the 20th century, over 2,000 people lived in Chehalis. A dairy plant had been built here, and it seemed like the area was rather self-sustaining, due to its agricultural sources and the processed product being made here to be shipped out to further markets. In World War II, Boeing set up a branch plant in Chehalis to build parts for B-17 and B-29 bombers, many of the workers being women of the area. Following the war, the local lumber industry nearly came to an end, as private lands had been depleted. The area's way of life would need to change in order to survive. In 1955, the US 99 Expressway opened, today known as Interstate 5. Chehalis was reestablishing itself as a midway point between major cities, such as Portland and Seattle. The interstate drew in new industrial business to the area, such as the Goodyear Tread rubber factory, now that it was more connected to metropolitan areas. Today, over 7,000 people call this beautiful little city home, some of which are now commuters, making this a somewhat new bedroom community to nearby cities. There are two main museums in town. One is the Veterans Memorial Museum, which I found much more interesting than I thought I would. It includes historical items from most of the major wars that the U.S. has been involved with through the years, including uniforms, weapons, vehicles, items from life on the front lines, and much more. There are even some examples of old military aircraft across the road. If you are into military history, I'd recommend visiting this little museum. The other museum is in the old train depot downtown, the Lewis County Historical Museum. Inside are many cool displays of history, both distant and not so distant, showing the progress of industry and commerce throughout Lewis County. There are little rooms that are themed in different ways, and a large model train exhibit in the back of the building. If you are into trains and railroads, the Chehalis Centralia Railroad and Museum is a must-see. They still operate excursions on vintage coaches, as well as some special holiday-themed train rides. While I was in town, they were just pulling their equipment out for the day, as I didn't have time to take one of their rides, which I would have loved to have done. So, I filmed some of their morning setup process. What a fantastic little town. Don't just drive by the town of Chehalis. Stop and stretch your legs with a walk through downtown, Have lunch at one of the restaurants here, or see the museums and displays in town. You won't be disappointed. We'll see you next time, somewhere else, down the road.